Okay, so here's the deal. I released this video featuring Two-Tailed Fox the other day in which I was showing off its auto-reloading capabilities with Facet of Command, which is a really cool interaction. Definitely try it out if you haven't. But also in that video, I did do a little bit of light damage testing. Certainly not on the level of my deep dive weapon breakdowns, I was kinda just playing around with things. But during this process, I did have 3 Void Surge mods stacked onto my boots. And in the comments, some questions did arise pertaining to the Surge mods with Two-Tailed Fox. Now, last that I was aware, and the testing that I did with this was shortly after Lightfall released, Two-Tailed Fox wanted Void Surge mods and Void Surge mods alone. You can see in this wall of data that I compiled back then, stacking on 3 Void Surge mods moved up the damage from every source by about 22%. So whether it was the Void Rocket, Solar Rocket, Arc Rocket, Scorch, Ignitions, Jolt, they all reaped the benefits. But this testing was done a while ago, and questions on the validity of these mods did arise. And because I do my best to be a content creator both of the people and for the people, I figured it wouldn't hurt to take another quick peek. So I went back into the Grasp of Avarice dungeon and fired 1 volley of rockets on the Ogre with 3 copies of the applicable Surge mods equipped. And the results were not what I was expecting. Something had definitely changed since the last time I ran damage numbers for Two-Tailed Fox. With 3 Void Surge mods applied, after all the peripheral damage had run its course, I was looking at 117,327. When using Solar Surges, 117,328. And Arc Surges, 117,336. So almost no discrepancy there. Seeing the damage swing around by just a few points is not out of the normal when that many damage sources are being applied. So my knee-jerk reaction was, that's awesome, it's working with all the Surge mods now. But my excitement was short-lived because the next part of the process was to try it with no Surge mods. And that test resulted in 117,319 points of damage dealt. So a touch lower, but definitely not low enough for me to say, yeah, those Surge mods are actually doing something. And I racked my brain for quite some time trying to figure out what in the hell was going on here. If you're someone who left a comment on my previous video and I haven't gotten back to you yet, it's because I've been busy beating my head against the wall. But good news, I think I have figured out the issue. And I do want to thank Max Candler and Mr. Multi Fisher, who both provided me with some backup testing and some additional information regarding this topic. Now I think if I didn't go into this with a preconceived notion of what I thought should be happening, sorting it out would have been a lot easier because honestly it does make a lot of sense. It ended up being a bit of a process though, but for starters, Max suggested maybe look at a different mod set like our loader mods, maybe you can find a little more context there. Lo and behold, it is the Arc Loader mods that will actually speed up the reload for Two-Tailed Fox. Why? I have no clue, but this was kind of a key piece to the puzzle because it focused my gaze in the right direction. Mr. Multi-Fisher on the other hand did confirm that he was getting no boost with the Void and Solar mods, but he was seeing a 2% total damage improvement with the Arc Surge mods applied. Now I know 2% isn't much, but when you are damage testing a weapon that's doing over 100,000 points of damage per shot, 2% should be noticeable. In my initial test, I was only seeing a 0.15% damage increase, so there was a disconnect somewhere. And while admittedly it didn't dawn on me immediately, the wrench in the gears was actually the very thing that brought me to covering Two-Tailed Fox in the first place. Facet of Command. So I kinda had to reset my brain here. I'd have to think that every one of these elemental surge mods, whether it be Arc, Solar, or Void, is actually being applied properly. The problem is just the nature of Two-Tailed Fox and its sequentially fired volley. The rockets always fire off, Void, Solar, then Arc, in fairly rapid succession. And you can see that cycle through next to the weapon icon in the bottom left hand corner of the screen. So if you do have, say, Void Surge mods equipped, that damage boost probably is being applied, but as soon as that Solar Rocket readies up, it's gone. And that happens quick enough that it's almost certainly going to occur before the Void Rocket makes contact. And obviously you are going to run into the same problem when going from Solar to Arc. So what does Facet of Command have to do with all this? When that Void Rocket lands and suppresses a target, we get an instantaneous reload. Typically, we'd be hanging out with an empty rocket launcher stuck on Arc damage, but instead it flips right back to Void. So with 3 Arc Surge mods applied and no auto reload, we're looking at 119,696 points of damage. There's your 2% increase. Why so little? Well, unlike in days past, that damage increase is only being applied to the Arc Rocket, and the Arc Rocket kinda sucks. It is nice in the sense that it does apply Jolt to enemies, but the actual damage that it carries is only about a fifth of what the Void and Solar Rocket have. So here in the final shape, the only Surge mods that could even potentially work on Two-Tailed Fox are the ones that provide the absolute least amount of value. And if you're doing that neat little facet of command trick, I would not advise putting any surge mods on, at least not on the account of Two-Tailed Fox. So yeah, I definitely screwed up in my previous video when I advised you to run 3 Void Surge mods. It might have been the play back in Lightfall, but currently, definitely not. My sincere apologies. But if nothing else, if you weren't already in the know, at least you got some clarification as to how these surge mods interact with Two-Tailed Fox. But the next video will be covering something different, I promise, and hopefully I see you there. Have a great day, Guardians, and I'll catch you on the next one.